What you need to know about COVID vaccines. Wherever you are, there is a second wave of COVID in the world. The slide that you're seeing now is the second wave on December 11 in New York, was close to 3,000 cases in one day. This one is in Tennessee, another wave of close to 7,000 in one day. This one is in Texas. The second wave is reaching 12,000 in one day on December 11. In California, a much bigger wave that occurred on December 11, reaching 32,000 on December 11. Across the globe, 1.6 million deaths. Now, regardless of who you are, what's your job, how much you know, there are a lot of controversies about the vaccine. And I cannot claim I know all the answers. The most important answer I want to say today, there are no data for long-term effects or side effects. So if you are expecting me to tell you don't take it or take it because of long-term data I do not have, I cannot plan to explain that to you. However, in the slide you are seeing are some of the statements given as an argument not to take the vaccine. The first one is the vaccine is not effective. The second is the vaccine causes harmful side effects, or the vaccine changes the genes and the chromosomes. Another argument that there hasn't been enough research or no randomized trials. The vaccine can cause autism. All of this and many more are issues that people are claiming for which they are worried or don't want to take the vaccine for. This particular slide is very important because it really compares the 4 available vaccines today in the world. There are many to come, but those are the most important 4 vaccines. The first one was in production in England and some places in Europe around December 8 or 11. And it is a combination of work between Oxford University and AstraZeneca pharmaceutical company. It uses a genetically modified virus, and they call it the viral vector. There are 2 injections to get the vaccine and to get the immunity. And they did 2 studies. The first studies, they used around 8,000 subjects, and the efficacy of that vaccine was only 62%. Then they did something a little strange. They gave 2,000 other subjects half of the vaccine in the first injection and a full one in the second injection. And strangely, the efficacy reached 90%. I am not 100% sure of this, if this is a very scientific experiment or not, since it wasn't the intention of the researchers when they started. It cost about $4 and it is already in production. The second most common is the Moderna American vaccine, and it's based on RNA research, and RNA is part of the nucleic acid protein of the virus. They take it and they deceive the body, making the body think it's being attacked by a virus, so the body genetically produces a lot of antibodies and the person becomes immune. Messenger RNA has been in the market for vaccination since 2011. Many vaccines were tried and so far no long-term side effects from using messenger RNA. There are some people still claim we do not have enough long-term data in this vaccine. I agree with that. But if you are arguing against the messenger RNA, Unfortunately, scientific data support that messenger RNA has been safe in multiple other vaccines for the last decade. Moderna is using RNA, again, 2 injections a month apart, and it has a 95% efficacy. They used about 30,000 subjects. They gave 15,000 the vaccine, and 15,000 they gave them placebo, or basically injection of saline. And later on, they looked at how many of them got infected when they exposed. And they found 5% only from those who got the virus actually got infected. The good thing about the Moderna, which is not yet in the market, at least in the States, but it's promising to be very soon in mid-December. The good thing about it compared to the Pfizer one, that it can be preserved in a much easier refrigeration up to or down to -20 Celsius, and it can be preserved up to 6 months, which is far better, easier for many hospitals and clinics compared to the Pfizer one. It's claimed that it will be for about $33 each injection. The next one is Pfizer, and it's really a combined work between Pfizer and a German company called BioNTech, and both of them has been working very hard to produce this for the last 9 months. Again, it's using the RNA, the part of the nucleic acid of the COVID-19 virus, making a vaccine in order for the body to produce antibodies and the subject becomes immune. 2 injections, 3 weeks apart, 95% efficacy. They did the experiment on 44,000 subjects. All of them are 16 years old and older. None of them were pregnant before, but some of them got pregnant while they are taking the vaccine. And so far, the 95% effectiveness rate, meaning the 22,000 subjects who got the vaccine, only 5% of them were infected. The problem with this vaccine, that it must be refrigerated under a strict freezing point of -70 Celsius, to the extent that the military powers itself are sending very large refrigeration and putting dry ice layers when they are shipping these vaccines. Those already are being shipped on December 11, 12, and 13 to many places in America, Canada, United Kingdom, and it's also going to other places once they satisfy the needs in the West. It costs about $15. The next one is the Gamaleya vaccine, or the Sputnik. This is started in Moscow already. They start vaccinating people in Russia. A viral vector, again, 2 injections a month apart, 92% effectiveness, regular refrigeration, and it costs $10. The only thing about this vaccine, I did not find any reports of phase 3 at all mentioned of its effectiveness. Again, it's being shipped to many places, mainly in Asia, but I am not aware of large studies that showed effectiveness or safety. There is a 5th one, which is very important, produced by a Chinese company, and it's using an attenuated or a weakened virus. Again, 2 injections. They claim 90% effectiveness. However, though, I could not find any phase 3 reports on the Chinese vaccine. It could have been there, but it's not published yet. According to some phase 1 and 2 data, it has been effective up to close to 90%. Nothing reported about its safety, however. I have not seen real data. There are some political reports about its safety, but it's unclear if this is scientific or not. Now it's being shipped to, of course, China, and it's going to Emirates, Egypt, Jordan, and some other places in the Middle East. Now, If you want to compare coronavirus vaccine to other vaccines, the flu vaccine effectiveness, for example, is only 44%. The AstraZeneca, as I said, between 62 and 90%. The chickenpox or varicella is 92%. The Moderna in 94.1%, and the Pfizer is 95%. Again, this slide that you're seeing now, it shows you each vaccine and how many cases were researched to reach the 90 or 95% in almost all of them, and whether they are RNA or a viral vector. The CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, will make very strict recommendations on how and who will get the vaccine. More than likely, there will be several phases. Phase 1 will be for the frontline persons, physicians, nurses, therapists, technicians, transporters of patients, and so on. And even within this group, there will be a differential: the emergency room physicians and nurses, the obstetric physicians and nurses, the ICU workers, and then the regular doctors who see patients. The second group will be the 80 years old patients and those who are having some immune compromised condition, like they had kidney transplant or they had liver transplant or they are taking immune suppressants. Those are the sickest patients, so either very old or have immune compromised conditions. The third group is between the ranges of 65 and 79 years of age, and then start going down to all the groups of patients until everyone gets to be immunized. Now, except for two groups we do not have data upon, the data are being collected now, are the pregnant ladies and under 16 years of age, teenagers and students or children. They are still collecting, and there are some research going on, both Pfizer and Moderna. I'm not aware of the other vaccines. So far, the preliminary data showed that it's very safe in the group of the children. The pregnancy is the only group that there are no data to my knowledge. In New York, there are 170,000 doses already arrived, and similarly, all the states in the American states have had doses all over the country in the last 3 days between December 11 and 13. Now, let me go to what are the most commonly asked questions, and I'll try to answer them. But I want to preface by saying, if you are waiting for me to advise you to not take it or take it, it will be very hard for me to tell you what you should do. I can tell you it has been found to be safe. It has been found to be very effective in preventing the virus and whatever side effects from the virus. However, the long-term data we don't have. Normally, we like to wait for a vaccine 2 to 3 years to see their long-term data. So far, we have no side effects that shows any neurological deficits or any genetic changes. However, I will not be able to tell you about long-term because there is none. Now, the first question is, why do I need the vaccine? You need the vaccine because there is no treatment for the virus. Once the virus comes in, we can give you some medications to prevent it from causing so much lung damage, but we don't have treatment for the virus. So we would like to prevent the virus from causing infection. The next question, who will be getting the vaccine first? And as I said, those on the front line, like physicians, nurses, technicians, then later on will be teachers, bus drivers, and so on. And then will be the 80 years old and immune compromised, then the 65 to 79, and then everyone else. Who is doing the vaccine? As I mentioned, there are several companies, and the one that's being used, at least in the States, is the Pfizer one. The one is being used, for example, in Europe will be also the Pfizer one. AstraZeneca, some places in Europe, the Chinese one, some places in the Middle East, including Egypt. Do I supposed to know which company I am supposed to be vaccinated from? The answer is yes, you must know which company. Because if you get Pfizer in the first injection, you must get Pfizer in the second injection. Because we do not have data on cross-referencing. We do not have data if you got Moderna number 1, we don't know what happens if you take Pfizer number 2. If I am being quarantined now because I have the virus, should I take the vaccine? The answer is no. If you are being quarantined because you're currently infected by COVID, you should wait 3 weeks and then you get the vaccine. What if I got infected by the virus before and maybe I have some immunity? Should I get the vaccine? The answer is more than likely yes. I cannot say 100%, but we think that everyone, even those who got infected, still will benefit from the vaccine because the immunity that you catch from the virus is limited and short-term. Is the vaccine safe? And that's probably the million-dollar question. Again, from all the studies I have read, from any of the vaccines, all of them appears in the short term to be safe. There has been no major adverse effects happened, and I'm quite aware of the studies that were done under the auspices of FDA, and they have not reported any of this. Of course, conspiracy theorists are common. They will say, oh, all of this to get money, this is all for politics, this is all lies. I cannot argue with those who have conspiracy theories because it's not something I can do or I have time for. If you are interested in scientific data, please go and read and be informed. If you would like to believe what I'm saying, I'm telling you what I read and what I studied and what I was informed through my communications with the professors I work with. The next question will be, how does the vaccine work? The vaccine works through generating antibodies by which your body will become able to make defense mechanism against the virus. The virus comes in, but will not be effective in your body. Can I get the infection through the vaccine? The answer is no, because the vaccine that you are going to get, at least in the States, is the nucleic acid, the RNA, which does not have the virus itself. It just have the idea of the proteins in that nucleic acid of the virus. It cannot infect you. More than likely, that won't happen also from the Chinese virus. Although this is a weakened virus, it should not cause infection unless, and that's where I don't know the answer to this question because the Chinese vaccine never really spoke about it. What is the relation to those who are immune compromised or have collagen diseases, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, or on chemotherapy? Can they take the weakened virus? More than likely, the answer is no for the Chinese vaccine and yes for the Pfizer and Moderna. But personally, I have not read that it's contraindicated for the Chinese vaccine not to be given to those immune compromised. What are the most common side effects from taking the vaccine? The most common ones are minor temperature, headaches, body aches, pain in the area of the injection, and very rarely vomiting. Apart from that, there should be no other side effects. God forbid if you start developing symptoms of COVID, like you have loss of smell or loss of taste or shortness of breathing, you should not consider these as part of the side effects of the vaccine, and you must seek a medical advice. Who is paying, or should I be paying for the vaccine? The answer is no. The taxes money, at least in the States, are the ones covering the vaccine. If I already got infected, should I still take it? As I said before, yes, you should take it, or more than likely you should take it because your immunity is short term. Should I keep the mask on and the restrictions and the distancing after I get vaccinated? The answer is yes. And I know this is annoying, but let me explain why. Number one, there are 2 injections. So you could be not completely having antibodies for the next 3 weeks. So you are not quite immune yet. Number 2, it's not as soon as you get the first injection you become immune. It takes weeks and it takes 2 months for the next injection to be delivered, and then your immune system will develop enough antibodies. Number 3, what if an elderly gentleman who cannot be, for any reason, cannot be vaccinated because he has contraindications, and you are immune but carrying the virus? You could give the virus to the other, although you yourself will never be infected because you got vaccinated. So for that and for those reasons, you ought to keep the mask on until a large, broad spectrum immunity happen in millions of people. How is the vaccine going to be administered? It's going to be administered through intramuscular injection over 2 injections. Moderna every month, once a month for 2 times, or every 3 weeks in the Pfizer, and it's usually in the deltoid muscle in your shoulder. Can it be given to those who have multiple medical problems, COPD, congestive heart failure, diabetes mellitus, stroke, obesity, asthma? Yes, the answer is yes, and those actually will be in the right away after the first group will be vaccinated, because those are the ones we worry a lot about them, and unfortunately the fatalities, the death rate is much higher in this group, and that's why they will be vaccinated sooner. What if I have hepatitis C or B, can I still get the vaccination? So far it's unclear, but more than likely there is no harm of getting vaccinated even if you have hepatitis B or C, because actually those who will get infected by COVID and they have a bad liver, they will have a very bad infection. So the answer is more than likely that there is no harm of being vaccinated if you have hepatitis B or C. What if you are pregnant? If you are pregnant, we don't know enough data. The vaccine wasn't studied in pregnant ladies. However, if you are pregnant and have bad medical conditions, diabetes, obesity, heart failure, liver disease, kidney disease, you have to ask your doctor, because more than likely, even though you are pregnant, they will still give you the vaccine, because COVID in pregnant ladies who have bad medical conditions has been very, very aggressive. And that's why they may allow pregnant ladies who have medical problems to still be vaccinated. What if a person is breastfeeding, lactating? Can she get the vaccine? The answer that we don't have exact data about that. However, messenger RNA, which is the Pfizer and Moderna, in other vaccines, not in this one, have not been seen to cause any harm on the baby, even when it is excreted in the breast milk. However, the answer needs to be, we don't know enough about this. I hope I covered as many questions as many of you may have. I want to qualify and put a disclaimer at the end, exactly as I started with. I did my research in order for me to benefit many of you. I cannot claim I am a virologist or this is my most important area of expertise. I have asked so many of my colleagues who this is their area of expertise. I have read for you as many articles I could master in order for me to give you a balanced opinion. My balanced opinion at the end, it's up to you, should you take it or not. I can tell you I have seen horrors among some of the patients who got infected by COVID. I wish I have never seen bad COVID in some of these patients. But in the same time, I cannot 100% tell you 100% safety 5 years from now. We will not know today. What we know today, it's safe in the first few months after the administration. I hope this has been useful, and as soon as we know more, CYC will come back and give you as many information that we can have. God bless. Stay safe.